I just realized I reviewed a scary movie earlier and didn't use my spooky Halloween music. So here's the spooky Halloween music. What is up, Flick fans? Welcome back to my channel. Only a few more days I can use that. Simon Pegg and Nick Frost, they are back, this time in television show form. Is Truth Seekers a show that is going to live up to the hype? Today we're going to talk about it. It dropped on Amazon Prime. Feel free to binge it, follow along, no spoilers of course, and get in that comment section. Let's do it. So this is an 8-part supernatural comedy series about a group of part-time paranormal investigators who team up to uncover and film ghost sightings across the UK, sharing their adventures on an online channel for all to see. So I think the first question is, Austin, does this resemble, at least come close to, what we've seen before from Pegg and Frost? If you guys don't know, Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, The World's End, I mean, one of my favorite comedic duos, honestly, of all time. Shaun of the Dead is one of my favorite movies ever. So to live up to those lofty expectations is very difficult, even with a very different TV show with the lack of course, Edgar Wright. This is just Pegg and Frost. But really, when you look at the cast, it's mostly Frost. Nick Frost is the main character. Simon Pegg is here, and you can feel his voice a bit within the script, but he's nowhere to be found in certain moments, in certain integral episodes, and this show really focuses in on a few of these characters. You have Nick Frost, who plays Gus, and a lot of these characters have YouTube channels within the show, which I think is hilarious. But Gus is kind of putting up a front. He says he's doing one thing, but really his career involves going around to all of these creepy, haunted, and spooky places and essentially chasing ghosts. Then he teams up with old Elton John. Elton John comes along for the ride. It is a duo, and that kind of turns into a trio when you have the character of Astrid who joins in. Everyone is great in this show. That dry, witty sense of humor. It is very much a British sense of humor throughout, but I will also say that it's not as maybe laugh out loud funny as some will want. It's also not a show that gets going right off the bat. It does take a couple of episodes, and even though I did enjoy the first half of the season, there were moments where I felt some of the pacing issues, and there were moments that were just a bit up and down in terms of how much I cared about the story happening, because it's a familiar story. How many times have we seen shows like Ghost Adventures or these haunted house type tales where individuals, they'll go in, they have a video camera, they're catching some spooky stuff. Now, the spooky stuff that happens here, it's a bit more real than what we're seeing in some of these other shows, but it's great to have the dynamics involved between our main trio, which again, Simon Pegg, nowhere to be found within that, even though he does pop up here and there. You have Malcolm McDowell, who plays Richard, and just the competitive angle of all of these characters when it comes to building up their following on social media. One of the characters has a makeup channel. That is Helen, and just the idea of what Gus actually does, who is an installer at the company called Smile, which is Britain's biggest mobile network operator and internet service provider. So essentially, he's going to different places and quote-unquote fixing the Wi-Fi, fixing the broadband connection. But really, they're chasing and hunting down ghosts and following leads, and every episode is different. But towards the latter half of the first season, essentially episode probably 4 or 5 and on, there is a conspiracy of sorts that comes to light. They uncover a bit of a cult, and that causes lots of drama to ensue, not only between our team, but with some new characters. And that really becomes the focus of the show. So you have the first half, which is kind of adventure, 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 adventure. The second half, which is, you know, still somewhat of a series of adventures, but the focus is really on this cult and how that particular storyline plays out. And even though Dave, he's not very happy about being partnered up with Elton John at first, their first job really brings them together and leads them essentially on many journeys. And I love how they play in, of course, you know, This is a YouTube channel. It's not a television show, folks. They play that into the show. There's one episode where he receives a message from a subscriber, and that message contains a picture that they follow up on. So a lot of really cool elements to this show. Again, if you're looking for a pure comedy in the vein of what you've seen from these two before, and really if you're looking for these two to partner up throughout the show, it's not necessarily the case. It's more just Nick Frost, and it's more of this paranormal adventure dealing with ghosts and ghouls and a couple of spooky moments and some really nice visual effects, and all of that stuff is good and well. There was a part of me throughout the entire series that felt as if I wasn't getting enough to, completely capture me. I wanted to be mesmerized, essentially, over the show, and I wasn't mesmerized, but I still had fun with it. It's a fun, easy show to binge. It's 8 episodes. Every episode's 35 minutes. It's not going to take you any time whatsoever. So if you guys want to check this out on Amazon Prime, you kind of know what you're getting. Just know that maybe it's not all that you're anticipating, even if it is just a little dose of that. But at the end of the day, this is a recommendation. I enjoyed the first season of Truth Seekers, and I think there are a lot of really good elements. In terms of my score, I'm just kind of teetering between a 6.5 and a 7 right now, just fresh right after finishing the show. I'm going to go a 65% for Truth Seekers. I may up that to a 70% eventually. I have to see how it sits. I did want more from this show in terms of the story and how everything wraps up and how those two distinct halves of the show come together, but there's still enough fun, enough entertainment. Nick Frost is just one of my absolute favorites. He's great, and some great moments overall. So Truth Seekers is a recommendation from me at the end of the day. So let me know how you guys feel about this show. Did you love it? Did you like it? Are you a fan of these two actors? Leave those comments down below. And stay tuned. There's more videos, maybe. I'm going to be counting down some Halloween movies tomorrow. We'll just have to see. All right, see you guys.